You raise a terrific question, which is, can the notion of social entrepreneurship address problems rather than symptoms?
You know, a really good social, I think he would identify himself as a social entrepreneur, is, Van Jones. So when Van Jones' career first started off, he was really, you guys know who Van Jones is? Okay. Van Jones started off.
He hasn't been here.
Oh, hasn't been here. All right. So Van Jones is primarily known, at this point, I would say in his career, as kind of like green economies. He had a book out on the best New York Times bestseller, I think got like to number 3 or something. And he looked at something called like green jobs, this kind of energy around green jobs, and seeing this as the next economic renaissance for urban America. Before that, his work was around something called the Ella Baker Center, which is primarily did criminal justice activities out west. And so his work has matured to kind of really figure out, so what's going to become the economic prosperity for low-income communities of color? And he believes that this energy is around, green jobs, respectfully. What's interesting about the green jobs kind of analysis is that it's not a promissory note of any sort. The whole globe is after green economy jobs. So if you were to sit in, let's say, the weak market cities kind of conversation, these kind of cities that have actually lost certain industries that are now trying to kind of have their own renaissance, they too are competing for these green jobs, right? There's no absolute, and there's no affirmative action program that really says that a person who is re-entering society from a criminal justice institution will actually have access to green economy jobs. So because there's so much material there around licensing, it's highly competitive, and so I feel like he's at this crux of wanting to kind of push this social agenda, right? Like, let's provide green economy jobs to those of us who are at the least, who have the least access to opportunity in the U.S. And then there's a market push that says, green economy jobs could really transform many institutions as well as cities. So, like, how do you kind of compete? So now you've got, like, the low-income people here, right, who probably need it the most, and then you've got, like, the green economy kind of, like, capitalist folks who say that either we can do it better, we can do it cheaper, we now have, like, green economy colleges coming up, the degrees popping up, and I think you're going to see this kind of really interesting fight that's going to happen around, like, who actually has access to green economy jobs.
So Paul Farmer works down in, I'm going to say Cuba, but I'm on Haiti. Books about him, articles about him, go Google him, right? And so he's been toiling away on health issues in poor communities for a fairly long time, right? Started with TB, now working on AIDS, working in Africa as well as in the Caribbean and so on, right? Okay. And he had just come from the Skoll Forum, if I remember correctly, and he offered a loyalist critique of social entrepreneurship, right? Hosted here at Stern. And what I remember from kind of his opening remarks, he's like, who knew that fighting poverty was like new, unique, cool, hip, entrepreneurial, right? We were just like trying to help the poor, sick people. And some of this is what I appreciated about his point is you can take the same goals that people have been seeking and working hard towards for a long time. You can put a new label on it, and you can pretend that it's this completely unique approach and it's going to be so much better than the approach that they were using in the 60s. But at a certain point, if it works, fine. What I got from your Green Jobs program is that because the green economy is going to be a growing component of the economy, if you want to lift people out of poverty, don't give them the jobs that are going to be out of fashion tomorrow. Hook them into the jobs that are going to be huge for the next 20 or 30 years, and let them ride that wave to success and prosperity. So what I heard from your story is it just makes incredible sense that if this is going to be a growing aspect of the economy, shouldn't that benefit the people who need the most help more than it benefits the people who are already doing okay and will find they'll get the education, they'll be able to get retraining, they're going to be fine. But if you really want to help the folks who need the most help, connect them to the biggest opportunity. That's what I got from your